Time to tune in. Now another sports center. It's a movement.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Touchdown with Doug Smith. I got the two most awesome co-hosts in the house with us here today, Mr. Mike Williams and Adrian Campbell. What's going on, fellas?
Another beautiful day, Doug.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we're going to get into the meat and potatoes. We're going to get knee deep in it, as they say. And we're going to talk about the NFC North, possibly the coldest division in the National Football League. Now, each team, if you're a Bears fan, if you're a Vikings fan, Lions, or even the Green Bay Packers, we're going to do a season prediction. We're spend 1 to 3 minutes approximately on each and every team. Give our feedback on what it would ultimately be, what the predictions made. Winning season, losing season, somewhere in the middle, and we all go from there. Now, we're going to go ahead and kick it off with the Detroit Lions, one of the most exciting teams in the NFL, making lots and lots of moves. But will that come through in their wins or victories? We'll take and we'll see. I love what they're doing. I'm going to go ahead and kick this one off here. For Detroit Lions, you're going to like this one. I don't have y'all hitting the playoffs, but I do have y'all having a very respectful 9-win season. I know it's not popular. I have y'all going 9 wins this year, 9-7 to take and be, 9-8 to be exact, because we got the extra game. But for the Lions, man, you guys got Jared Goff, man. He looks really, really good in that first preseason game. I know it's like, Doug, preseason, but listen, he has a lot of fun tools that, I only say that he didn't have when he was over in LA. It's him just having a new beginning, a whole new coach. And I think that's really what he needed. And then, of course, you have a very exciting coaching staff. You have Deuce Staley. You have Dan Campbell. They're calling him Motor City Dan Campbell, excuse me. They look good. They should have won that game. They lost by 1 point the first preseason game, but I know it's just preseason. But from what I saw on that television screen, is a much improved, a much energized team. And they're going to get a lot of upsets this year. So, yes, I have them at a very aggressive 9 wins and 8 losses. Mr. Mike Williams, what do you have the Lions as?
Hey, man, I have them at a very aggressive 5-12. I think they're going to be scratching toes and biting kneecaps, like Dan Campbell said. But I think they're going to lose. They're like the preseason game they had where they lost by 1 point. I think is going to be the story of their season. They're going to come through with some victories, but Jared Goff is not an upgrade from Matt Stafford, right? I don't believe that. They lost Kenny Golladay, Marvin Jones, Denny Amendola. That's tough. They replaced them with Tyrell Williams, Brashard Perriman, and Khalif Raymond. I don't think that's an upgrade. Now, two moves I really, really like that they did make was, although they did trade Matt Stafford, the compensation they received was future first-round draft picks, et cetera. So I do like them arming the war chest. I do love draft picks. And Michael Brockers and then Penei Sewell, who I thought was arguably the best player in this entire draft. I love those moves, and those are going to be 2 moves that are going to be good for them for long term. I just don't think this year it's going to all piece together. They're going to need to really have a solid number 1, number 2 wideout, and I don't think they have one on the roster. Amon St. Brown, he has a potential to be, a number 1, low end number 1, high end number 2 in the future. I just don't think it's going to all connect right away. But the draft that they did have, I think, set them up beautifully for the future. Penei Sewell, Levi Onwuzurike, Ali McNeil, Ifeatu Melifonwu, and then St. Brown. So they have the hardest names to pronounce in their draft, and they also have a tough draft that they put together. So I think that's going to set them up for the future. I just don't think this year it's going to translate to wins automatically. So I have them going a smooth 5-12.
Got it. Okay, love it. Adrian, what you got?
Man, Detroit, I got you guys at a very, very aggressive 3-14 this season. Now, look, Detroit fans, before y'all come from my head, let me go ahead and say this. I have never run into so many cool Detroit Lions fans, let alone any really Detroit Lions fans, just because of my location. But Detroit Lions fans have been on my Twitter, and they have been nothing but cool and supportive with the deal that went down with Matt Stafford to the Rams. And I mean, just my interaction with you guys as a fan base, like, y'all are cool in my book. Don't think that I'm giving y'all this prediction out of any animosity for, players that left my team for your team. It has nothing to do with that. It's just what I see. And let me explain. You guys had a really great draft, and I think Detroit is a team that is going to be one to watch for the next 2 to 3 years. I think it started in the offseason with the acquisition of Brad Holmes as the general manager, who had been the director of scouting for the Rams for so long, and really one of the main ingredients for us finding a lot of these hidden gem players throughout the 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounds that you now see starting for the Rams. So I definitely think their front office is headed in the right direction. Dan Campbell is an interesting head coaching pick. You got to love his enthusiasm and his passion for the game. Let's see if it translates to wins, if he can get that locker room to buy in. And if he, it seems like he's really built an interesting coaching staff full of a lot of former players. Let's see if all of that can come together because that has the potential to be very dangerous, especially with being former players. You would think that that's going to be a very friendly player-friendly organization, which could make them one of the more desirable landing spots going forward. Like Mike said, the compensation for Matthew Stafford, they have their war chest kind of stockpiled for the next few years. If they can hit on those picks, this is a team that's going to be reckoned with. Offensive line, I think Jared Goff is going to get some of the best protection that he's had in his career. But like Mike said, Jared Goff is not an upgrade over Matt Stafford. And I say that as a fan of the team that drafted Jared Goff, the team that Jared Goff went to the Super Bowl with. He's not. I'm not wishing Jared Goff to fail. I wish him nothing but success. But here's the reality with Jared Goff. Jared Goff is a California boy. He is from California. He played his ball at Cal, got drafted by the Los Angeles Rams. He has been in California's sunshine all his life. He's going to the very, very, very cold Detroit Motor City. And if you guys have watched Jared Goff over his career, particularly that Super Bowl season, late during the season, he starts going downhill. And even more so when he plays in cold situations. When we had to go up to Chicago, he was non-existent. Doug said that Jared Goff had a good preseason game. I'm going to disagree because first throw from Jared Goff it should have been an interception, but the linebacker dropped it. The second one he threw into the ground, and the third one he took a sack. So it seemed like par for the course for Jared Goff and what we've seen when you apply pressure to him. I hope that he can be serviceable for you guys because I definitely think that Detroit has bigger needs right now, that if they can fill those spots and get a quarterback that is serviceable, they can be very, very competitive for a long time. But only time will tell. Unfortunately, like I said, you guys are good. Another team that's just a victim of schedule. A lot of tough opponents playing in a pretty tough division, but they got to mess with those boys in the AFC North. Then they're messing with the Broncos. They're going to touch on the Rams, the Seahawks. I mean, like, this is going to be a very, very uphill grind for them, especially with Aaron Rodgers officially on board for the season in Green Bay. Probably one more season of misery. And then I think next year, if you guys make the right moves, if people can stay healthy, expect a much more competitive Lions team, but 3-14 for now.
I love it. I love it. The next team we're going to take and cover is going to take and be the Chicago Bears. Bear down, folks. Yes, we're about to get into it. Chicago Bears. Now, you guys go ahead and stay tuned because we're going to talk about this team here next. Now, I want to mention before I give my prediction, I'm going to kick this one off first, okay? I'm going to pass this on to my co-host here. For the Chicago Bears, they have a quarterback situation. It's a good situation to be in. You know, you have Andy Dalton. He's probably more likely going to be your starter. Then, of course, you know, you had the new quarterback that they just drafted, and he lit it up against the Dolphins in the first preseason game. He looked really, really good. That offense looked highly energized. You know, they went 3-and-out first several series with him in there. But for Justin Fields, I see him, and again, we're doing predictions, but I have to take and talk about this. But Justin Fields, I see him starting anywhere between week 4 and maybe week 5, maybe even having I can't say they'll necessarily have a rocky start, man. It's just Andy Dalton, I'm not the most confident in him, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not. I'd rather see the rookie in there, but maybe he need to be back there and take notes. Maybe it's more beneficial for him to ride the bench a little bit, right? Then they got you got Robert Quinn on that D-line. You got Khalil Mack. I mean, they got some head busters on that defense. They have some pretty good receivers in there as well, too. And, you know, I think Mr. Pace took and saved his job for the Bears. Now, as far as predictions, I just want to take and throw that out there. Quick disclaimer. This is contingent on Mr. Fields taking a starting by week 4. But I have the Bears ultimately going 8-9. 8-9, 8 wins, 9 losses. They're going to be a middle of the pack team, but they very well could take and this could easily be a 10-win season for them, and they may even be able to sneak into the playoffs like they did last year. But again, I have them going 8-9. Mr. Adrian Campbell, what you got?
Man, the game yesterday, Justin Fields is the story of the day for the Bears. My man went 14 for 20, 142 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 passing touchdown, and then he went 4 rushing attempts for 38 and a rushing touchdown. You got to like the versatility, you got to like the explosiveness that he provides, and that energy that you clearly saw all over the field. Obviously, with the preseason, we don't want to get too hot or too cold on somebody. He's still a rookie, and even though after the game he said that the game felt slow to him, we'll find out once the regular season kicks in and these teams start rounding into form. Also, keep in mind that even at the beginning of the season, a lot of these teams are still coming together. So let's see what's happening mid-season if the game is still too slow for him. But arrow up for him. I think he has a lot of potential, and because the potential for him is so high, the potential for this team is high. However, it's not going to get it done this year. I've got them going at 7-10. It's a strength of schedule thing. Again, I know I keep coming back to it, and you guys hate me, but it's a strength of schedule. They're playing in a division with Aaron Rodgers. Unless this defense can come and be the defense that it was in 2017, 2018. And that's not to say that they're a slouch on defense, but unless they can be the defense that they can, I think it's going to take some time for this team to really come together. The quarterback room, you have to be optimistic with Justin Fields sitting in there. We can't talk enough about him. However, the fact that they are even insistent that Andy Dalton is going to be the starter, they're remaining bullish on that. Like, I don't understand it. The fans all saw it yesterday. The fans are going to go crazy. The moment that Andy Dalton throws an interception, takes an unnecessary sack, I mean, the fans are going to be screaming for it. And I'm not saying that as a head coach you should bend to what the fans say, because we're fans for a reason. You are where you are for a reason. But I honestly have Justin Fields coming in pretty early. I have him coming in and starting that week 3 game. I think by the end of week 1, they're going to see enough, because they face the Rams in Los Angeles week 1. And I think they're going to see enough from Andy Dalton. They'll probably let Andy ride for one more week with the Bengals, and he'll get the win over his former team with the Bengals, but it'll be a struggle more than it should have been, considering the Bears roster versus the Bengals roster. And I think at that point, Matt Nagy, who is absolutely on the hot seat this year, is going to make a change early in the season in an effort to maintain his job. And I think you will see Justin Fields debut at starting position at Cleveland, which could be dangerous for him, because like we talked about in our previous show, that defense ain't no slouch either. Myles Garrett, he cannot wait to welcome the rookie to the NFL. So like I said, it's a good team. They're on the up and up, but just too tough a schedule to overcome this year, 7-10.
Love it. I love it. Mr. Mike Williams, what you got for the Chicago Bears?
Yeah, I agree. Like, you both made some real valid points. Like, this team has a lot of potential, but the potential itself lies in Justin Fields being on the field. And I don't think he's going to be, right? And I also think Matt Nagy is going to be the first coach this year to lose his job. I think he's going to be out of there. And really at that point, whoever the interim coach is probably going to throw Justin Fields in. Because if you ever go into a season the last 4 or 5 years saying, hey, Andy Dalton's going to be our savior, you're not a team that's going to plan on having a winning record, in my personal opinion, right? In addition to the fact that as much as we talk about Khalil Mack, as much of a dog as he is, he hasn't had a 10-sack season in the last 3 years. 2018 was the last time he had a 10-sack season. So I think when you don't have as much to worry about in your defense, you can really hone in on him. And they lost Kyle Fuller to the Broncos. They lost Buster Skrine. And say what you will about Mitch Trubisky, he was athletic, can move the pocket a little bit, and that allowed their offense to do a few things that Andy Dalton definitely cannot do. Justin Fields, in my opinion, could probably do everything he can and more. But when's he going to hit the field? We don't know. And I think it was a smart strategy to sit him, because you look at the schedule, so we just talked about, they start off with some rough games. They have a real chance of going 0-4 to start the season off. And I think that's going to be the time when they're having some out losing momentum, when they might put Justin Fields in. But that also takes out him having to face, some of those dogs that got to face early on, right? And can take some notes. So I do think, they're a couple years away, but I think this year, I mean, they're going to be a little in some transition. And I never think seeing Andy Dalton as a quarterback starting for you outside of his prime is a recipe for a winning record. So 7-10, I think, would be their cap. If they get Justin Fields in there a little bit sooner, if maybe something happens, they surprise us and he starts off the season, I think they're going to have a much better record than that. But the fact that they're starting Andy Dalton, I don't see them winning a game for the first 3-4 weeks easily.
Got it. Okay. I love it. So we got 3 very similar but very different predictions, man. I love it. You guys go down below before we cover the Vikings next. Go down below, comment below, let us know who you think is accurate, who's more not so accurate. And then, of course, while you're at it, make sure you guys go ahead, hit that subscribe button. That helps grow the channel. Make sure you guys go ahead and join Touchdown Nation. In the meantime, Vikings, Minnesota Vikings. We're going to take and cover them next. Mr. Adrian Campbell, go ahead, kick that one off for us, sir.
Minnesota Vikings, man. This is a team that should be good. Like, they should be good. They should easily be competing neck and neck with the Packers, but they're not going to. Shout out to my dad. He's been a Vikings fan my entire life. This is going to be another sad season for him, and I don't want to see. I don't enjoy watching my dad be frustrated and crying. But this is going to be one of those seasons, man. It's just going to be one of those seasons. I got them going 6-11. Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins, and take that how you want, man. He's not a bad quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. He makes plays. He'll have games where you're thinking yo, this guy is next level. He's finally figured it out. And then the very next game, he goes back to just being whatever. I do like their receiving core, with Adam Thielen. And is it Justin Jefferson?
Yep,
Justin Jefferson. However, Justin Jefferson did suffer an injury in camp. They don't think it's anywhere near season ending, but with wide receivers, I believe it's a shoulder injury. You always are concerned about that range of motion, being able to make those adjustments midair and bring the ball down. That's something to watch. Dalvin Cook, if he continues on this path that he's been on the last few seasons of being able to be healthy and be on the field, he's going to continue to be a problem. But I think the weakness in this team is actually the coaching. And I know that may not be a popular opinion, but I think it is time for Mike Zimmer to go. He comes from an era of football that does not translate to winning anymore. And he has not been able to build a great defense, even despite having some very good players on that defense. And with a lot of these quarterbacks, especially if they're going to be looking to make a transition here in the year, we're just finding that a lot of younger quarterbacks are having success with these offensively minded coaches. Now, granted, they don't really have a young quarterback on the roster, barring what's my guy's name from
Kellen Mond.
Yeah, and he didn't look stellar. He didn't look stellar yesterday, but it comes for all. It comes for all people. But I don't think he's going to be able to flourish in a Mike Zimmer system that is going to be defensively focused. It's just going to be a rough ride for the Vikings. I had some hope for them. But with, like I said, Aaron Rodgers coming back to Green Bay to terrorize them for a whole another year, I just don't see it. And especially if Justin Fields can get on the field for the Bears, that's just going to be another, go ahead and write 2 more losses on your schedule when you see them. It's just going to be tough for the Vikings. I think they should be smart about it, start the rebuild after this season, go ahead and let Mike Zimmer go, thank him for his services, send him out the door, and see what prospects are on the market for the head coach. 6-11 Vikings.
Woo, okay. That's bold. Mr. Mike Williams, what do you have him going as?
Yeah, I have them actually going 9-8 this year. I do like how they revamped their secondary. Secondary was absolutely atrocious, especially for a coach who is a defensive-minded coach. But adding one of the best corners in the history of football, Patrick Peterson, Mackenzie Alexander, and Rashad Breeland, I think is going to help them out. Xavier Woods, while he did struggle with Dallas, he has some real up and down moments. He's going to be a very solid depth piece for them. And then add in Dalvin Tomlinson. I think that was a super underrated move. He is built for that defense that they have. And really, they did lose some pieces, and they had a solid draft, man. Drafting Christian Darrisaw from Virginia Tech. I think he's going to be a left tackle that's going to be there for a decade. Just sit him there. Chaz Surratt, the linebacker, Wyatt Davis at guard. I think they made some moves that are going to help this team out, especially in that Mike Shanahan offense that they have. They actually have Clint Kubiak this year got promoted from a quarterback coach to the offensive coordinator, replacing his father, Gary Kubiak. So I think they'll be 9-8. I don't think they're going to be a playoff team. I don't think they're going to really be in wild card contention. I think Kirk Cousins is extremely average, but again, they have some weapons. He can get the ball out to people. They will score the ball, but they're going to lose a lot of games as well that they probably shouldn't lose. But again, they have a deep receiving core if Justin Jefferson does come back healthy with Thielen, and then they signed D.D. Westbrook. So I think they're going to be competitive, but until Aaron Rodgers retires or gets traded, it's not their division to win. So again, I have them going 8-9.
Okay. Love it. Okay, so we're about to have 3 very different predictions. I have them going at 11 wins. 11 wins. I didn't bump my head this morning. 11 wins. That's why I got them at. But I'm going to say it's strictly off of the talent that they have. Obviously, at Justin Jefferson, you got D.D. Westbrook. You got Dalvin Cook, one of the best running backs in the league. Could be top 5, at least top 7 best running back in the league. But yeah, I mean, it's Kirk Cousins, man. I mean, they drafted Kellen Mond for a reason. They drafted Kellen Mond, and whether he does well or not, it just shows that what their confidence level is in Kirk Cousins. He's one of those guys who they'll lose a game, but he's very Phillip Rivers-esque. And what I mean by that is he'll throw 400 yards, but they'll still lose by 3 touchdowns and stuff like that. So can they take and ultimately put it together? Can they ultimately put it together? That's my big question for the Vikings. But I'm looking at the schedule and I'm looking at the games. I'm like, win, loss. I throw that one up in the air. I'll give it a loss. And worst case scenario, I have them still at 10 wins. So but I'm giving the benefit of the doubt. I got them at 11 wins. The Bears are currently repairing things right now. The Lions are, they're an up and coming team right now. And then of course you have the Vikings. Packers, they're a Super Bowl contender. We're about to touch on them here in just a moment. But for the Vikings, they don't have a very super difficult schedule this year. So, but also they have a lot of talent. That talent has to be respected. But again, this is contingent on Kirk Cousins, man. I mean, I only like saying being contingent because I mean he's shown that he could beat some very good teams, but can he be consistent? Can those stats that you take and have that are so great, can those take and become victories? Because even very mediocre quarterbacks, such as like Goff and stuff like that, they've been on Super Bowl winning teams or Super Bowl competing teams, excuse me. So, but yeah, got them at 11 wins and ultimately got them at 6 losses. Go from there. Next team we're going to take and talk about is going to be the very exciting Green Bay Packers. I'm going to go ahead and start this one off here, folks. The Green Bay Packers, top 3, maybe top 5, but top 3 best receiver core. They got one of the top 3 best running back in the game right now in Mr. Jones. Matt LaFleur, very good coach. And then most importantly, they have Aaron Rodgers. This has been a very chaotic season for them, off season, excuse me, whether he's going to come back, whether he's going to be a Denver Bronco, what's going to take and happen. Been a lot of drama going on there, but they seem that they got things worked out for a year. Will he stay past the year? We'll take and we'll see. But I'm going to say this. I believe the Green Bay Packers are not only Super Bowl competitors, I believe they're possibly even going to be the very best team in the whole entire NFC. So that being said, I got them at 3 losses and 14 wins for the Green Bay Packers. Mr. Mike Williams, go ahead and let me know what your thoughts are.
Hey, man, we're pretty close. I have them going 13-4. They lost Corey Linsley, Jamal Williams, Christian Kirksey, Wagner. They lost a few pieces, but guess who they got back? Aaron Rodgers, and we didn't think that was going to happen. That's a man who fills in warts. He's going to get by having Aaron Rodgers on your roster, you're going to win 10 games, right? Having the coaching staff that they do have is going to help them win a few other games, but he does cover up a lot of warts, right? Like a couple of their picks I did like. Eric Stokes out of Georgia. I think they drafted him a little bit early, but he's a speed demon, and they needed somebody opposite Jair Alexander to kind of step in. So I think he probably is going to start off his career kind of rough as a rookie corner. You're going to get tested if you're a rookie corner, but I think he'll pick it up. He has a phenomenal mentor again in Jair Alexander, who's a top 3 corner in the NFL. And A-Rod, Amari Rodgers from Clemson, right? Shifty guy. I think that's a weapon that as he builds consistency and chemistry with the original A-Rod, Aaron Rodgers, I think that's going to make a difference. And then Randall Cobb coming back. Some people say, hey, that maybe wasn't the biggest move, but guess what? Aaron Rodgers wanted it. They made it happen, and I think he is going to fit into those weapons right away. And again, they have the second best receiver in the NFL, in my opinion, in Devontae Adams, right behind DeAndre Hopkins. I think that's kind of my order, but he's a dog. That's somebody that he's going to get his. It doesn't matter who he plays. He's one of those guys that any receiver, any corner that is a lockdown corner is going to have some troubles with. So I have them going 13-4. Definitely have the opportunity to be in the NFC Championship game and represent the Super Bowl between them and the Bucs. I think that's going to be the two real tough teams in the NFC. But I have them going 13-4.
Woo! Love it. I love it. Okay, so we're right in the same ballpark. Mr. Adrian Campbell, man, what you got? The Green Bay Packers currently going as?
Man, me and my brother Mike Williams in lockstep. I got them going 13-4, which has been par for the course, right? Like they just 13 wins. Like they don't know how to do nothing else but win 13 games. You got to be pretty happy if you're a fan of the Green Bay Packers, man. Getting Aaron Rodgers back, playing winning football, but for some reason that NFC Championship game is their Achilles heel. They just cannot get over the hump for whatever. It's the most ridiculous stuff that we've seen happen to this team. And I think a lot of that is on the defense. I mean, the defense is good, not great. This offense pretty much scores at will, especially with the players that they have. Aaron Rodgers is, and this is not to say that they're the same caliber of quarterback, mind you, but Aaron Rodgers is very much has that Russell Wilson effect where it doesn't really matter what the rest of the roster looks like. As long as he's up and he's healthy, that team is a threat because that guy is very special with the ball in his hands. And he makes those other players around him that may not necessarily be the greatest players. He makes them a hell of a lot better just when he's commanding the field. I think Aaron Rodgers, from a quarterback perspective, I don't think anybody controls the game from that position better than Aaron Rodgers. From the quick snap counts to making, to watching when the teams jump off sides and grabbing those free plays, nobody quite does it like Aaron Rodgers does. As a guy who's seen, dang near everything, he's used to playing in the cold. He's probably walking in expecting to dominate this division, and make no mistake about it. He's coming back refreshed, man. I know there was a lot of drama in the offseason, but Aaron Rodgers was not fazed. He was out there doing this thing, booed up, let his hair down. He's growing that thing out, looking crazy. I mean, this dude is just relaxed. He is on some straight, I would say California vibes, being a California boy living out there in Wisconsin. So, I mean, they did lose some stuff, but nobody wants to talk about it. But the Milwaukee Bucks winning the NBA championship, Cheeseheads is looking at the Packers like, hey, we need some more hardware out here in Wisconsin this year. We need some more hardware, and there's no reason why we shouldn't. Doug, you mentioned it. Aaron Jones is an absolute beast out the backfield. Devontae Adams, who, you could make an argument for being the number one receiver. I tend to agree with Mike Williams that it's D-Hop and then Devontae Adams. Madden does not agree with either one of us, as he is the only receiver to get the 99 overall rating this season. But Madden is Madden. And then Randall Cobb, I mean, a lot of people are like, man, he's over the hill. Why would you sign it? But that's what Aaron Rodgers wanted, and there is some definite chemistry there. Look for Randall Cobb to be very key in third down scenarios as a possession receiver and a red zone threat when they get down there. Once again, what did you expect from the Packers, man? They're going to dominate this division like they have the last few years. Really expect them to compete for that NFC Championship spot and then possibly for a Super Bowl. You guys hit it. We got the Bucks. I think everybody in the NFC is kind of looking at the Bucks. And then, like I said, I'm gonna say it, and I believe it as a homer. I believe it as a fan of football. I think the Rams are right there. I think you're looking at your top three. It's Rams, Bucks, Packers. That's what you're looking at from the NFC. We don't talk about that other division.
I love it. Man, so you guys let us know. Let us know down below in the comments. I put these on the screen here for a reason. If you agree, hey, that guy with the Rams fan, even though I'm not a Rams fan, he made some good points here today. The guy down below with the headset, he was pretty good. And then Doug, he was terrible. He was the worst. I hate this show. Regardless of what you think, make sure you go down below, hit that comment. Go ahead, drop a comment, drop a like, drop a dislike. Let us know what you think, what you feel. Definitely make sure you go ahead and you hit subscribe. That helps grow Touchdown Nation. Also want to thank everybody for taking and subscribing to the channel. We just hit 1,000 subscribers about a week and a half ago. Make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe, support the channel. In the meantime, y'all have a blessed night. Make sure you stay tuned for the Touchdown with Doug Smith. Peace.
Hey, thanks for watching, y'all.
turn 100 for the touchdown. King crown, gain inside, leading your town. Hit you faster than the sound. Bad boy, throw it down. Yeah, I'm ill. Not my will, don't cop a fill the house. Listen to the roaring crowd. Drop a light, calm it down. Heisman, all the haters mouth. Superhero hit them wow. Packing more action than bing, boom, bam, pow. Touchdown for the win. We live, subscribe right now.